Hello, YouTubers. Andrew Miller here. I've wanted to do something a little different tonight with my videos. I recently got a letter from somebody, and it's actually a very well-known YouTuber. It's from Lisa ASMR. If you don't know who Lisa ASMR is, I highly suggest you look her up. She's a very talented ASMR artist, and her videos are very relaxing, and she's got such a fun, creative personality. Go check her out if you haven't. I recently sent her a letter saying how much I really liked her channel, and she actually responded back to me. And I will say I've already opened the letter and I've already read through it because I didn't know if there was, personal information in there that, we should probably keep personal. So I looked over it and I'm going to read what she said, some parts that she said, the parts that I don't think she would mind me saying. So I want to make sure I keep, certain things private, but I wanted to make this video for her since she read my letters to her on her channel. I decided to read a bit of hers. Dear Andrew, thank you so much for sending me a stamp. That helps me out a lot. You're more than welcome. First off, you are too kind. Thank you so much for your kind and supportive words. I'm glad my presence makes it comforting to watch my videos. How did you learn about ASMR? It's actually a very funny story. It happened by chance. I was just browsing through YouTube, and I don't really remember exactly what happened, but I think it was either your videos or other videos. I think Jessica Davenport was an ASMR artist, and I was interested. Like, what is this? Like whispering and and noises. And I thought it was silly at first, but then when I thought about it, it made a lot of sense that it actually did have very relaxing tendencies. The whispering, the familiar noises, maybe like it was triggering like a memory, a relaxing memory. And I looked more into it and I watched more videos, and I really liked your channel specifically because I mentioned this in a letter. I liked your channel because you were more personable and very humbling, and you weren't like very like overly professional, like this has to be here, this has to be here, I have to look like this. I liked your down to earthness. Is that a word? I'm making it a word. So hope that answers your question. Let's see. I wanted to tell you that I really enjoyed the videos you uploaded. Don't worry about how you look or sound, you're doing great. The thing that helps me get through my anxious feelings when I upload is just reminding myself that even the best actors, movies, books, etc. get hate, so I shouldn't care. Heck, you can delete any rude comment if you wanted to. Okay, you're gonna have to tell me how to delete a rude comment. Not that I got a rude comment, but I would really appreciate that because hate the haters. But your personality shines through on your videos, and they're great. One of my favorite parts was when you tried to get the lightsaber to fly to you by using the Force. Made me smile. I'm happy that made you smile. I thought maybe it'd be funny if I pretended to use the Force, because you probably don't know this, but I'm a very big Star Wars geek, and I love everything Star Wars, as I've probably told you a lot of times, but I've even got my lightsaber right here. It's right next to me. And I thought it'd be funny to talk about my experience, and well, I mean, you inspired me to make videos and not care how I sound or look. Heck, even making this video, I'm worried about how I sound or how I look. Like, is my head lopsided? Like, am I crooked? Does my voice sound robotic? I'm always dealing with anxiety, so just dealing with it. I wish I was always so positive, but man, my demons are real. There are days I just lay in bed or on the couch all day and wish the depression would dissipate. It's not as bad as it used to be, but it's still there. I definitely know how that feels. Like I said, I've dealt with anxiety ever since high school, and I'm not going to go into detail, but something happened in 8th grade where a secret was revealed. And I went through trauma, and I blurted it out to the wrong people. And rumors were spread. My family found out about it. And instead of being supportive, they were chastising me for saying such a thing. Like I should have known better. And I blame myself during that time that I brought shame on my family, that I was stupid. And it was to a point where I really did not like myself at that time. And unfortunately, I carried it with me through high school and even a little bit through college. And I will say, the early years of college, I kind of leveled out okay, but I really, really leveled out more once I met my wife, and she helped open me up a little bit. And also after I went to counseling, and I'm very appreciative for her for that. She's a lot of my life. I will do a Harry Potter quiz today and find out what house I am in and let you know. I want to know. I'm still betting on Hufflepuff. Andrew, from the guy I ran into at Woodworth to the person you are today, and through our interactions, I can tell you are a very kind, generous, and loving individual. You are perfect the way you are. I wouldn't know about perfect, but seriously, you're so kind. And you don't even have to be. Thank you. And to be honest, I keep trying to think back to the day I met you. I don't really remember exactly what happened, but it kind of reminds me of the day that I met my wife at Ball State. We were in cognition class together. That wasn't the only class. We were in another psychology class together, but I didn't know. I was completely oblivious to the people in my class because I was so focused on my studies. Seriously, she was in two of my classes and I didn't even look behind me or recognize her. And apparently she really liked me the first time she laid eyes on me. And one day we were waiting for cognition class to start, and she worked up the courage to talk to me, ask me about an upcoming assignment that we were doing. And my first words to her were, "Who are you?" I'm such a charmer, aren't I? But she's good, but she keeps telling me about that just to, like, and it makes me wonder, like, good God, like I must have made her feel terrible, you know, that like I keep thinking, like, did I make her feel so unimportant, like I was like on a higher level than her? Like, part of me wonders, did I make you feel that way, Lisa? And I really hope not, because sometimes I'm afraid that I came off as like pompous or like, "I'm too good for you," or something like that. I really hope not. So I'm sorry if I cause you anxiety. I really do. I really am. I love that you talk about I love how you talk about your wife and Daisy. I hope you get to do a little quarantine date. Trust me, I'm definitely planning it. I'm hoping to get some steaks from Yoder's and do something special for her, maybe some candlelights. It's easy being our own worst critic, but you're perfect the way you are. Kind of crazy, but when I met you in person, I would have never guessed you struggled with anxiety. You seem confident and self-assured. Keep being you. You're doing great. I guess at the time I was really good at hiding it because, man, my anxiety was really affecting me during college too. It was junior year when I realized I needed help. I think I was talking to Kayla at the time, and yeah, I realized I really needed help. And sometimes some parts of my past, like I mentioned before, were affecting me, and I was, dealing with like self-hate and all of that. And I got to a point where I realized the people who hurt me or didn't understand me, my family members, I felt didn't understand me, I had to find a way to accept it and let it go. And I mean, especially right now, I feel like I'm at that point. But it definitely wasn't easy because it's always that thought of if only they would understand. There's a possibility that they could understand if I could try to make them understand. But sometimes they're not going to be able to. They're not going to apologize when you want them to, and you have to accept it. And that's probably the hardest thing anybody can do. But if if I seem very confident and self-assured, then I'm glad people think that of me. I like to seem confident, and there are definitely days when I, keep thinking about, did I sound uncertain? Because even clients I meet today, they often wonder, 29-year-old, huh, what does he know? He's so young, he's got a baby face and everything. So anyway, let's see. If you don't mind me asking, how much does it cost to take the LCSW exam? How long is it, and is it designed to trick you? Yes, it is purposely designed to trick you. Basically, you have to be at a very particular mindset, and I never felt prepared. No matter how many practice tests I took, no matter how many books I studied, those questions are hard. I won. No, I didn't win. I passed by 1 point. One. And, I pass is a pass. I get it. I'm glad. But still, it could have gone either way. If I answered anything differently, I would have lost it all the second time. So usually it costs about, I think, $260. I could be confusing $360. It's very expensive, and you need about 2 years of supervision from an LCSW to get the hours needed to get licensed for your LCSW. And the process, the paperwork, it's so long, so needless. You gotta send, a bunch of paperwork and get it approved and get everything signed, and there's a lot of confusion. It was heck. And the worst part of it was, for 3 years, I had to get all of that experience in, all those hours logged, because this was in between the time that I lost. No. I didn't lose anything. I quit my second job in private practice because I wasn't getting enough hours, and the higher ups were being very disrespectful to myself and my colleagues. And when I went to my next private practice position as a counselor, that's when I started to, get more hours, and I started to bookend everything. But if you ever do decide to study for the LCSW, there's a YouTuber that I would like to highly recommend to you, Matt Laurel, LCSW. His videos on how to really look at those questions, LCSW questions, are really insightful. So if you ever decide to become an LCSW, Lisa, I'd still highly recommend it. It's definitely like something nice to fall back on if you don't want to be a counselor, if you want it to be something, a lot more, more proactive, like maybe a case manager. Like I actually think maybe in the future I'd like to be a medical case manager, like maybe work at a hospital. I think that would be more productive. Like I can do a lot more with it. Like maybe counseling, like no offense to counselors, but sometimes I think it's limited. Like I can only see this person for an hour, that's it. I can't advocate much. I can't provide enough resources that I'd like to provide. When I did my internship at Memorial, like I felt really productive. Like I'm ongoing. I'm meeting all my people. I can therapize. I could be an advocate. I could provide resources. I did a lot. So I'd still highly recommend it. Congrats on passing it in November. I hope you celebrated your achievement. We did. We went to my favorite Italian restaurant locally and ate myself some chicken parm. Oh, and I opened a bottle of champagne too that I was specifically saving for that time. I have a fear of being a failure in my career as well. It's a sucky fear. It definitely is. And it's probably one of my biggest fears, behind heights and spiders. Did you and your wife meet in a class? Yes, we did. And funny enough, I never realized we were going on dates either. Again, it really shows you how bright I am. We, I think it was at the end of our junior year, she revealed to me that she actually lives Middlebury, a town near where I grew up, Goshen. And something in me was like, hey, I can hang out with this person. And I took her to the lake, and that's another story in itself. My uncle's lake, and took her kayaking. And then I started to see her more. And when we came back in senior year, she actually invited me to be a date at her cousin's wedding. And this is going to sound bad, but at this time, I was actually eyeing somebody else. I know I really hate talking about this, but I was eyeing somebody else who she actually says was leading me on, and I didn't really realize it at the time. But it was around the time when she asked me to be her date to this wedding, I started really thinking about my life and what I wanted to do with it. How I really wanted to, settle down, get married, have kids with somebody who really liked me for me. And something about her when we hung out, like, I really, I was drawn to her, and I can't really explain it. So I hatched a very sneaky plan. I would go as her date, but she didn't realize I was really, really her date. And there was a moment during the reception when I decided to take 20 seconds of courage to surprise her with a kiss on the lips. And boy, was she surprised. It was official at that time, and a year later, I proposed to her right in front of Beneficence, actually. And that was right before, no, that was during my entry into grad school at IUSB. So we were engaged for 3 years and got married at Disney World in 2016. Our anniversary is coming up on May 9th, so I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, that's we met at school, and I'm always thankful for it. She's amazing. I'm glad counseling worked for you on campus. I went, and I was too concerned on hurting the girls' feelings to ask for a different counselor that I just pretended to no longer need their services. That was a mistake. I'm glad you're doing much better. I still consider you a great friend, but it would have been cool to build a friendship for that long. Yeah, that was another thing that I regret doing in college. I wasn't really open, really. I mean, I was to a point, but again, I wasn't really that open. Like, I was too focused on school. Idiot, I know. I will say, though, you shouldn't have felt guilty to change counselors. I actually did it the first time when I went there. It was the first person I talked to who did my initial session, the assessment. It was actually my instructor for for therapy. She said, "Is this gonna be? Is this okay?" And I'm like, "Okay, it's all right, just as long as my counselor's different." And they gave me a male counselor, and I told them at the time that it's nothing personal against you, but I prefer a female counselor. I just think I'd be more comfortable that way. And they were like, no problem, no problem. And they connected me with a female counselor who helped me during my junior year. And I think it was during that time I actually got on Prozac for a while. Yeah, my mother frowned on that, but hey, it helped me for a time. And I thought it was very valuable. But I think I'm starting to think how different it would have been for you, Lisa, if you actually did get the opportunity to meet someone who worked with you, who jived with you. Because, yeah, I mean, it really sucks to have someone you don't really connect with. I still consider you a great friend, but it would have been cool to build a friendship for that long. I don't have many at all left, to be honest. I honestly didn't know they had homecoming alumni parade. I don't have any family near Indiana, so it would be a long shot if I ever made it back. Understood. But maybe one day. And if so, maybe we can go on a double date to a dog-friendly place. I wouldn't be opposed to that. We talked about bringing Daisy along for a trip to Ball State, and maybe take her along. And we got her a homecoming. We got her a Ball State bandana, and we thought this would be cool to take her for homecoming. So she doesn't really like car rides that much, though. I mean, she gets really queasy. I think it's because she remembers us driving her home in the car and she threw up. But, if we give her some, like sleepy pills or something, she'll probably settle down. Thank you for being you. Stay true to yourself as well. Oh, I'm not done. If you don't mind me asking, how many clients do you have on your caseload? At this point in time, I would have to say 20 on the online therapy service, BetterHelp. And at this point in time, I think 17. It's really up and down. Like some people, I see consistently for months at a time. Some I only see once and never hear from again. Especially on BetterHelp, it's like they call me asking for help, and then I try and set appointments with them, and then they vanish. It could be that they're afraid of continuing services, but what can you do? But I will say with the private practice, that's kind of the biggest con. You're paid depending on the person showing up, and sometimes they haven't shown up, and sometimes my schedule hasn't been that full, which kind of led me to using online therapy to help bulk up my schedule. It's definitely helped. It's kind of evened things out, I would say. But again, I'd like to get to a point where I could consistently rely on my private practice to keep me consistently busy now that I got my LCSW. Let me tell you, like signing up for those insurances, sometimes that was a B word. You should definitely do theater reading videos. That'd be awesome. And don't ever kick yourself about not knowing which way to go for a client. Sometimes the best answers come to you later. Yeah, it gets better as the days go by. I mean, ultimately, like I can only do my best with the knowledge that I have, and sometimes, some clients are more difficult than others. Thank you for the worry stone. I love it. And it's my favorite color. Chirp, chirp. Pet Daisy for me. Keep being awesome. You got this. Much love, Lisa. P.S. The quiz said I'd be a Gryffindor, but after reading what qualities make the person, I feel like I would be a Hufflepuff. Called it. Actually, it's not too surprising seeing you as a Gryffindor. The reason I say it is because you really are brave. I mean, like I said before, the internet is full of trolls, full of critics, and let's just be honest, weirdos. And I gotta say, Lisa, you do a lot of brave things on here, like stuff that I wouldn't ever want to do. But I appreciate that you really care about your fans and you're willing to put yourself out there, even if you are uncomfortable or self-conscious with something. I mean, like the whole thing with the weight and everything, like screw the haters. You're beautiful, all right? You're perfect the way you are. And I wish you the best of luck. Keep your head up and hope you get through this quarantine and, take care of yourself. Don't forget to engage in self-care. And even though you try to keep a positive attitude for other people, especially your patrons, try to keep a positive attitude for yourself. All right? Love yourself for who you are. And say hi to Mr. Beerman for me. Beer brothers. Respect. Hope you have a wonderful night, Lisa. Good night.